Hi, I'm Matt with Meat Church. Let's make honey hog hot wings. Well, back here in our barbecue supply shop again because it's still hot as balls in Texas, and we're going to stay in here until it drops below 110. So tailgating season is about to start. You guys know that we're big time tailgaters. This will be my 24th season of season tickets in the NFL from some team that has disappointed me ever since I've had my tickets. And so we're not ready to jump into tailgating, but we're certainly prepping for it. So what we're doing today is we're going to use one of our OG rubs, Honey Hog Hot. This has been on my list to do for a long time. I almost called this Honey Hog Jalapeno, and I wish I would have because I think people are afraid of the hot title. It's not that hot. But I've always prided myself on being different. My whole business model was unique when I started it, and every time I try to come out with seasonings, I try to make them different from anyone else on purpose. So when I came out with this, I wanted a hot rub. All the rubs in the market were really Chipotle, and I thought, what's different? And we chose jalapeno, and honestly, I didn't know how it was gonna go. It's been a big success. I still think it's very underrated. When you pour this rub into your hand, it has a little bit of pop to it, but when you cook with it, it cooks down to have what I call a really unique flavor. I absolutely love it on chicken. Forever, it was my favorite wing rub. It's probably tied with Voodoo. We have so many rubs in our arsenal that are great on wings. I see you guys using honey hog, honey bacon, gospel, holy cow, you name it, but I would give this a shot. So what we're gonna do today is I'm gonna show you guys one of my keys for tailgating, which is do all your prep at night so that when you get out to the game, all you gotta do, hopefully, is drink and focus on your friends, do a little bit of grilling. But we're gonna do a simple marinade on this. Full disclosure, never actually done this marinade exactly. We've done variants of it, but we're gonna marinate something. We're gonna season it with Honey Hog Hot. We're gonna grill it hot and fast, and we're gonna see how it turns out, which I don't think it's gonna suck. So let's jump in. We're starting out with 2 cups of buttermilk. So when I fry chicken, I love buttermilk fried chicken. It helps break down the chicken. And now we're gonna do, speaking of breaking it down, we're gonna go with 1 cup, this is 2 cups of buttermilk, 1 cup of pickle juice. But we didn't just use regular pickle juice today. Y'all remember the Mexican grilled chicken? The one that's all over the Meat Church Congregation Facebook group that used these pickled jalapenos? We actually used this pickle juice to give it a little more unique flavor, a little more jalapeno. Don't worry, it's not gonna be too hot, I don't think. And we're going with a cup of the OG Frank's hot sauce. I'm gonna put a little Honey Hog Hot in the marinade. So in my barbecue schools, I talk about the first thing you do with your proteins. Can be marinating or injecting. A marinade is a way to impart a bunch of moisture and obviously kind of set the direction of the flavor profile, hence the reason I put the hot sauce in it, because we're creating a hot wing. Now my goal here is not to make the hottest wing in the world to burn people out. So like I said about the rub, don't be too hung up on the name. Great thing about doing videos here in the shop is I can walk over to the shelf, I can pick up my seasonings. You guys can get this stuff at meatchurch.com. It is the absolute freshest seasoning in the business. No one can top that, I promise you. If you come to our shop here or order from our website, it's been in a bottle for like 2, maybe 3 days. And that's also meatchurch.com. You can get our swag that you see here and all of our recipes down in the description below. So you don't have to be exact with this marinade, okay? You're really just trying to make sure that you've got this stuff covered. Play with the flavor profiles, adjust it however you want to. I didn't talk too much about the pickle juice. Our Nashville hot chicken is one of the most popular recipes on our website, and that sits in a pickle juice brine, for a few hours, and I'm a huge fan of that. And so that's the reason I put the pickle juice in here also. So how long do you need to do this? Well, you need to do it at least overnight. We are actually going to go with a video today that shows some that I prepared last night, which I'll bring in here. Wipe my hand off. As you can see here, I did some yesterday. It's been in right at about, it's 14 or 15 hours or so. You can do this marinade 12 to 24 hours. I like a day if you have it. It's not gonna hurt it if you go longer. But again, talking about tailgating, it's okay just to do this the night before. It doesn't have to be perfect. You know they're gonna be delicious. I mean, I think most people probably do wings without marinating them at all, usually. So after you pull these out of the fridge, super duper easy, all we're gonna do, we're gonna pull them out of here, and we need to get these completely dried off. So I'm gonna pull these out, gonna dry them off, we'll move on to the next step. All right, I've got them all patted dry. Moisture is the enemy of crispiness. Now clearly my goal here today isn't to make the crispiest wing I've ever made. As I mentioned earlier, we've got a playlist with tons of different wing recipes, the ultimate fried crispy wings, smoked wings, smoke fried wings, all kinds of stuff. This is just a super simple method, but I wanna get as much moisture off as I can to crisp them up a little bit. And it's time to season. I'm gonna season pretty liberally, obviously both sides. What I would do if I were you at home, and if this really is for tailgating, I would do all of this at home before you leave. No reason to transport that marinade to the game, get it, you know, all in your Yeti and whatnot. So I would rinse them all, pat them dry, season, throw back in a bag, and you can head to the game like that. That way the seasoning's really adhered, and when you get there, you just gotta get your fire going, your grill going, and you're good to go. So I'm gonna flip them over, season the other side, make sure they're nice and adhered, and then move on. All right, the seasoning is adhered, so let's talk about cooking. There's a lot of different ways to get these cooked. When I am at a game, I see people use all types of grills, everything from like the cheapest charcoal grill in the world to, you know, I take Traegers out to games, you know, where I can run things like super duper hot off a Goal Zero battery pack. It doesn't really matter. Whatever you wanna do, you just gotta get these over 165. I'm actually gonna cook them hotter than that. So with that said, let's get outside. All right, well today we're out here on my mill scale yakitori charcoal grill, just running super hot. Don't know the temperature. This is the fun part. You just get to move the grate up and down to make sure you get them cooked, but make sure you don't burn them. And I'll just go ahead and tell you, a little risky grilling in flip-flops, but I ripped open a blister at the rub and tug and the keys, and not as risky as pissing in a urinal at a concert, but still pretty risky. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna throw these chicken wings down. I'm gonna flip them around, rotate them, move them. The goal is just to cook them very evenly. I'm also gonna throw some of the jalapenos from the pickled jalapeno juice on here. Throw those in some ranch later. I've said this in a lot of videos before. I don't just cook my wings to 165. I will go a little bit further, get a little more crispiness. Plus we're dunking them in ranch. They're not gonna taste dried out or anything like that. So again, flip them, rotate them, move this up and down if you need to, or if you're cooking on a pellet grill. I go 450 degrees just until they're done. Super easy to do at a football game. Been cooking for about 10 minutes. Fun thing about this yakitori, a lot of different grates on here. What I like to do, as wings are over 165 or where I want them, you can just take them off here and put up here on this cooler rack while you finish the others. All right, we're at about 15 minutes. These look awesome, they smell even better. Let's pull them all off. Let's go inside and talk about the sauce. All right, these are straight off the grill. Let's get them in our sauce. I like to do that when they're nice and hot. And I'm gonna hang on to one over here to try without the sauce. So a lot of times in my previous wing videos, I've talked about, you know, you can take a very straightforward generic method up to this point, and you can toss in various different sauces to appease a crowd. So usually at tailgate, I'm doing about 3 different sauces, but in this case, we're making what we're calling honey hog hot wings. So my traditional hot wing sauce is a cup of Frank's and then about a half a stick of melted butter, which we've already mixed up here together. Just pour it all in here or however much you need, and just toss them around. So I'm gonna toss this around, then I'm gonna put them on the back on the board here to cool, and then we'll be back with something to drink to see how we did. All All right, well, these have cooled off. They look awesome. They smell amazing. You pick up the jalapeno stuff sitting here. By the way, I always say subtle difference between burned and char. I want an appropriate amount of char, so these look awesome. They're gonna be really good, I think. So I'm gonna start out with the non-sauced first, just so that I can really see what the marinade did in the seasoning before I, just completely cover that up in the franks. So a little test here. That's good. Not even that hot. I'm telling you, my 11-year-old could eat that. I've been saying this since this rub came out. Honey Hog Hot cooks down to have just a really unique flavor. I don't have another way to put it. It's not burn your mouth up hot. So it's a Southwestern rub. So I think anybody would like it, even if you don't like hot. But let's jump into the star here, which is gonna be the ones that are sauced. And I'm a flapper guy. I've talked about this in previous videos. Why is that? Well, because you can take the wing and you can just basically pull it right off the bone and you can eat the entire thing. And I'm jumping right in. This is our jalapeno ranch. We started posting this when we did our chicken fried burn-ins. The recipe's on meatchurch.com, down in the description. But we've taken some of the grilled jalapenos and actually put in this ranch. And I'm the only one eating this, so I can dip and double dip and go on. My friend Stell Cracker says, that's money, dude. That is good. This is a winner. So first off, that is a much juicier wing than I'm used to. With all that marinade, the buttermilk's made it super tender. It's got a little bit of a twang from the pickled jalapeno juice. Obviously, it's got the Frank's Red Hot in it. Super duper good. The sauce is awesome. That's not too hot. If you want to know where it sits on a 1 to 10 scale, I don't know, maybe it's a 6 to 7. I haven't even reached for my beer yet. So that tells you it's not too hot, and I can't handle the hottest of hot foods. So this is a winner. This is definitely going in our tailgate playlist. You guys love that in the fall. All sorts of little stuff you can make for football games. We'll have a lot more coming as football season gets rolling. And hey, you can come to this shop on Saturdays. We've got free beer on tap right here, super duper cold. And by the way, thanks for digging last week's video. The Wagyu Denver cut steak with a Gorgonzola cream sauce. So good, I made it again for my family last night. Anyway, like I say, like the video, subscribe to our channel, tell your friends about us, and we'll see y'all next week.